What's going on, guys? Sir Wayne here, and I'm bringing you guys something a little bit different here, but I'm going to tell you a story on how I got 5v1'd in this 100 map. Well, technically, I think it's a 73 with the times 4 speed, but it's definitely got the same feel as a 100, and except it's, of course, the 4 times the speed, so makes it getting 5v1'd that much worse. So in this map, I am Colorado, and and let's just go ahead and get into it. I had joined with a buddy of mine who was down in South America, and he is actually in my current 100 map as South China, but he got down there in South America, and I don't like playing in South America on the 100s because they do that for that very reason. You get just, 5-on-1. So, yeah, and he got eliminated. I think it was 4v1 or 5v1, one or the other. Let me know which one you were, Hunter. I don't remember, but it was 5v1 or 4v1. But I started out as Colorado, and then I noticed everyone around me, Kansas, Texas, and what was it, Florida, and then I think it was Kentucky or something. Kentucky, yes, Kentucky was all joining in the same alliance, or coalition. So, and what I noticed that when this happens is you better get into the picture or you'll be eliminated, right? So I messaged Kansas and like, hey, I would like to join you guys. And they like, okay, cool, all right. And it's like, okay, so I joined them, and like I said, it was one of those deals. Like, there's 4 or 5, 4 of them, three or 4 of them. There's nobody else. You might as well join them. So I broke out and went this way into California, took them out, and then I went up to whoever this is Northwest USA, took him out, and as I was taking him out, he's like, "Why me?" And I'm like, "Well, it was gonna be somebody. Sorry." And then I come up and took this guy out. And around this time, Quebec was there was Quebec, and then this guy up here. Well, actually, this was this guy. Okay, yeah. So after this, it was this guy, and then there was Quebec, and then that nobody wanted to attack Quebec, and I was just like, I mean, I don't have a problem, and I was debating on between going after this guy or Quebec, and well, as around that time, Quebec went ahead and joined us. And then they kicked out Florida. This is how crazy these games are. They kicked out Florida because he was getting just stomped by Cuba. And yeah, by little bitty old Cuba, all of Florida was just getting smoked. And so they wiped him out and replaced him with a better player, which I entirely agree with, but that's just how the game rolls. And moving on, I took this guy out, and then Quebec was teaming up, and he was doing his thing, and he had quite a bit of troops, but none of them were upgraded. So I wasn't worried about fighting him at all at the time. And then I moved on into Alaska and decided to go ahead and move over and get a piece of this over here into Asia. And as I had moved into Asia, there was Russia and some other countries, Russia, and then there was another country here. I want to say it's like China or something, and they were doing pretty well. They were actually fighting the Russia. It wasn't Russia. It was Krakistan. What a Krakistan. But they were taking them out, and I messaged them if they needed help, and they was like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty fine," and they were just getting slaughtered by them and. An Africa coalition, I believe at the time. Was it an Africa coalition? No, it was in Iraq, the Middle East. It was one of the Middle East coalitions. There was a Middle East coalition, and then there was us in America. There was South America coalition, and then they weren't doing anything once they wiped out Hunter. Sorry, bro, they weren't doing anything. So they just sat down there and did nothing for pretty much the entire game. So, um, so Russia, or one of the Russian coalition guys, the Kakistan, eliminated the China, and Australia was coming up. It was Queensland, right around here in Korea. He was taking them out, and the Middle East was along this side, and he was coming, in this direction. And Queensland had about right here and then Kakistan had wiped this guy out entirely, and then there was another guy up here. I don't remember. It was West Yakata, whatever. So he had like a lot of this. Yeah, all the way up to about this point, he had everything. And then I had, at this point, taken all of this. But I had sent a little over 100 divisions, which is my entire military, across and made them over here, which takes some time to send your troops across this Nile in your planes. I sent all of my planes. I had airports, as you can see, airports everywhere that stretch so they can get there quick. So I have this really long supply route all the way back to Colorado. So you got to take that into consideration whenever you're moving your troops into foreign lands. So what do? Send everything. Everything. That's what I did. I'm taking a risk, but I still can move planes over here. I kept my naval bombers. I had 10 naval bombers over here, just in case anything happens or whatnot. I got it. And then, so to make sure they couldn't land, and then I could always bring my planes back and deal with anything that does try to invade me. And then I do have a nice, a little bit of a buffer right here in these areas before it gets to my cores, the major important stuff. So anyway, so I come back over here, and we invade West Kakistan together. Well, actually, he invaded first. And then, what's that mean? That means I'm going to get me a piece too. So I joined in the fight, and I said, I'm going to help you out, and I'm going to jump in. And I started wiping this guy out too, and taking some of the cities, taking some of the good cities up in here and around here, taking as much as possible. I got this one and this one, which at the time I had for a while until I lost it to rebellion, unfortunately, to an ally, but it is what it is. And I took these cities here, and which became very, very crucial later in the game as far as keeping my power in the region. And I somewhere right in here is where I couldn't go any further because the Kakistan cut me off. And you know that's like to get cut off. I'm sure you know what it's like to cut people off. So anyway, so what had happened at this point was Kakistan and decided to ally with Australia, but they weren't. Their coalition was full, so he can't really ally with them. He can't join them, but he can ally with them. So he decides to do that, and he actually helps the Middle East, which consists of Iraq. What are some of the others? There was a big one. There's a really big one. Turkestan was one of them. I think Persia might have been one of them. And I think maybe Saudi Arabia might have been one. But anyway, he was playing on both sides of the coalition, And I wasn't, it's not that I was, my coalition wasn't interfering over here. This was just me who was interfering, and I'm just trying to sneak in the back door, and just trying to get what I can get. And then all of a sudden, my coalition's like, we're going to attack the Middle East. Because the Middle East had wiped out Europe. Pretty much wiped out Europe. And there was a big country here, Central Russia, I think it was, who was allies with the Kakistan, and they were the only two left. So they were, playing both sides, trying to just survive or whatnot. And my coalition decided to side with Australia and wipe out the Middle East, which was absolutely fine. So you had my guy who was Quebec, who was taking Great Britain at the time, coming down into France. Was it France? Yeah, into France and taking that, and he was scrolling down through Spain as well. And I was doing my best to come over the top here and because I was getting cut off, and I was moving troops through the top, I believe. No, I moved it down. Anyway, so I moved troops down here at the start of Kakistan, the end of Kakistan, which was around this area. Yeah, his core territory. So in here, and was securing his airfield and making sure that I could put my planes there, and securing a couple airfields just in case, protecting them so I could do my stuff, right? So, and I had about 30 or 60 planes, and pretty really good size army. I think I had about 80 divisions, and then left about 20 or 30 up there, and decided to. And then Queensland messaged me and said, I'm attacking Kakistan, because Kakistan decided to betray and attack Australia, which is definitely a bad mood on his. He picked the wrong guys to mess with. So I went ahead and started invading the Middle East. No, it just so happened to be Africa by now. Yeah. Africa had wiped them out. And then as well as his partner, which is weird. So Kakistan joined the guy who wiped them out, whichever, right? So I started invading them, and then Queensland was wiping out Kakistan, and he did very, very well, very, very fast. He wasn't a very good player. I don't know why he decided to do that, but he did. And he started wiping him out. And when he did, and I knew it was lost, I had my 2030 divisions over here start invading him as well, and trying to take as much as I could and cut off Queensland, and just get as much as much as possible. And I got a pretty good chunk and whatnot. So, and then at that point we were taking out Africa, and I was taking out Africa up here, because after he somehow got up in this region and was cutting me off. Probably because I went to sleep and I didn't want to risk my troops. So yeah, that's what happened. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, they had like all of this in the morning. So, and the enemy was over here, so I had to get over there. So I moved a bunch of troops through, and it scattered like pretty essential to like how he had it then. So like I had to move here and into here and here and here and down here. So, and I used my Navy to clear a path and protect my stuff while I was landing. So that was pretty easy. And I had the highest upgraded Navy in the world. I didn't have a huge Navy, but I had the best naval units, and everybody else had low upgraded units, but they had like battleships and wasn't too many subs. This guy had a sub, and I never did kill that. I was supposed to kill that, Libya. But anyway, so getting into it, I moved into here, and I used about 2 stacks, 3 stacks, and started pushing south. And for some reason, Libya decided, hey, I'm going to fight mostly against Sir Wayne coming in for some reason, instead of the other guys they had been protecting. So he just comes like sending everything, and I seen it by using my spies, so I could see all of his troops coming towards me, and I killed all the troops that were coming, and slowly moved south, and got down here while Queensland was asleep, and cut all of them off, and then I was free to roam. And then I just scrolled through here, taking all of this out, and then taking out all of Greece, just knocking it all out. And I had air at this point in time, and I just kept moving, didn't use much of my air. I just kept using artillery, playing it smart, trying to take what I could get, and rolling like that. Eventually I had taken everything out to about this point here, and then this is where I had met with Quebec. And then I was also moving in with a small force into Sweden and was wiping them out, and eventually did. Small forces there, and then we set here, and then I took Italy and started diverting forces down here to Africa, where it had seemed like they were already giving up, or just mostly giving up. Once once Libya lost all of this up here, they gave up essentially because Quebec met their navy here and ran their navy off or killed their navy, and so I was able to lay some small troops here, and then eventually was able to reinforce, push them down, and then at this point, Queensland landed here. And when I say Queensland, I mean Australia as well. They kind of all have a similar flag. So anyway, so they started pushing down, and they stopped right about here for nap or sleep or whatever. And I was pushing down this way and just almost basically a straight line trying to cut them off. And then I was going to stop right along these lines, holding the line here all the way to the ocean. And at this point, somehow one of my cities had rebelled, and one of the guys of Australia was pushing through just like this, and he started making him a style, and then I was being greedy, and I shouldn't have. I should have backed off and let them, because we were teaming with Australia to wipe out Africa because they were being a bunch of racists with their whole, well, it's not on there no more, but they were whole BLM, and they were like their coalition fraction was BLM, and then that wasn't really what made it racist, but like what made it racist was in the description. They were like, kill all white people, and I was just like, oh yeah, they should just die at this point. And and really, it was just crazy. And so anyway, so he pushed along that line, and then at right here, I had like 30 stack of 10 TACs, 10 attack bombers, 10 fighters, and they were maxed out or close to it. They were the elite of my Air Force, right? And they weren't the only stack I had but they were the biggest stack I had. But I had 2 or 3 more stacks. So, but I didn't want to lose them, and I was being dumb, and the Australian guy swooped down with an AC and attacked it, and I was just like, oh my god, are you serious? So we're getting sneak attacked by Australia, and here I am like the Germans with a freaking AC down here, being protected by my 30 stack of planes, trying to take as much stuff as possibly can, being greedy and all. And then I've got my artillery stack and everything way up here. Basically I'm running a blitzkrieg without tanks except with ACs, and I'm using my planes to clear the way. And the actual bulk of my military, which is not really a bulk, but the part that uses artillery and kills stuff, is way behind. So here I am spanning out, and I'm spamming out with other units and stuff, and in this area, and I'm waiting on my artillery and stuff to come down. That was from, I'm guessing that was from here to come down, and they had just landed, so they're falling behind on my AC and my air, of course. And finally, his AC died because I had so many planes and stuff, so that was fun. And then I pushed my troops back. They survived. Pushed my troops back, my planes back up here, and did a full out retreat. All of my units back up here to where I can actually manage, and then I started managing it, and was killing stuff, trying to catch their air. They had rockets. They were shooting rockets at me, trying to knock my planes out, which I was prepared for. I actually had my airport back here, and then I had an airport here, which I had made it into a level 2, I think it was working towards maybe a level 3, so they couldn't knock it out, and they did knock it out. But it's cool because I had another airfield that my planes were patrolling, so even though they knocked it out, they got rehooked onto another airport, which is fine. And at night I would retreat my planes back to somewhere in here, and then I would patrol over this is where I would have my troops fall back. So And then I would check every 2 hours to wake up and check everything, make sure everything was okay. Well, all of a sudden, Quebec went inactive, it seemed like, because he was gone for like 16 hours or so. So, yeah, I was like, my guy has went inactive. And so did everybody else, it seemed like. And I think Kansas came back. But long story short, they basically all went inactive. Right? So, and I was like, well, most of this stuff is all Quebec anyway. I can't hold this. I've seen their troops. I've seen what they have. There's spies. I have to retreat. So I retreat back up here to Europe, and I said, I can hold this. Well, all of a sudden, Quebec comes back for whatever reason. It's like, I got your back, man. I got your back. And he's helping me up here with his air and stuff, which is mainly what he has. And then all of a sudden, he disappears yet again. So I have to use my air, and actually that was before I retreated from Africa. Then he went inactive, and then I retreated and started using my air, and I pushed him back up to about right here, and then I couldn't really go any further. And then over here in this area, they were pushing up, and they're pushing at me hard, and I was just like overwhelmed, and I was trying to get troops to escape, like stacks of troops in this area trying to escape, trying to get to a defensive position, and that way I can defend. So I get everything to about right in this area or something like that where I can really defend. Actually, it was right in this area is where I started my defensive efforts, and this changed. This pretty much right here is where I held everything, and I built tanks. My tank factory was here, which you can see I got it I put a concrete or bunker and everything because I thought that this was probably going to be like that they was going to get to this and I was going to have such a problem. So I went ahead and built that. And then this was artillery. This was also artillery or air. And the same thing right here. I use this for artillery and air. And then I had this was in my naval base, and then I had this as my naval base. So this was pumping out a Navy, an elite Navy, to make sure that this area here, this area only, that I maintained, in this, of course, my naval base, I remained naval superior, nowhere else, because, obviously I couldn't, I had so little versus so many of them. And they would just all five of them come at me, and I think I would have like 3 or 4 of them at a time coming at me, and then I would have like 2 of them while I was awake coming at me, different times because they had. So all in all, I was being attacked 24 hours a day, and then and I was like. I was so ready to quit, and I was like, because this is bull crap. It's 5-on-1. All my guys went inactive. And I said, you know what? I'm so sick and tired of losing because it's a 5-on-1, And I'm like, what? Screw it. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and fight them and see what happens because I want to see how many kills I can get. I'm going to boost up my stats. And I had a level 105 before I started this map. And I had a 5.30 in KD ratio. So obviously I did pretty well. So I was like, okay, let's just fight it out. Let's get these levels. Let's get these kills. And, you scroll through these kills that I had, Western Australia, which is not much, actually. Come on, let's get to the fighting. See some of these others. See 400,000 I killed there. It was just a ton. 200,000 there. 381,000 dead. These are different countries too, So, I mean, quite a bit. This is not me. Here's Colorado versus Quebec, 108,000. So anyway, so I'm defending here. All my guys going active and defending here, and then they're attacking, and then I'm counterattacking, and I'm setting back, and I'm shooting them with artillery, and just working them, right? Just killing them, and they're not getting they're not getting to me, and firing them with artillery, falling back, firing with artillery. And as they take land, that's fine. I'll come back and take it while they go to sleep. And then they have to retake it when they wake up, and then I kill more of their troops. And this works like this for quite a while, like a day or two, 24 hours or 48 hours, that we just take this exchange on both sides here too. I'm fighting them. And all of my troops, I'm sending my troops from Colorado across the ocean because I know they don't have any naval power over here for whatever reason they decide not to. And they start taking Great Britain, which is fine, and Spain, which is fine. And then I reinforce this with the troops from Colorado. And then my stacks here are being reinforced and replenished from the cities that I showed you, not from Colorado, which maybe, that's something they might have been trying to do, but it didn't matter. I had everything being replenished from here. So anything that was damaged was sent back to Colorado and stored in this stack just in case I was invaded from California or Colorado, invaded my homeland, which never happened. And I just put up a really good defense, and then Quabec came back, and then he left again. Then he went inactive. Kansas came back, and he got the bright idea to attack Kentucky, and then he got his butt kicked, and then asked for me to help him, and I sent a new developed planes and a new stack, and wiped out and helped him and wiped out Kentucky more or less for him, kept him from getting wiped out. And then finally over here in Asia, they broke. I counterattacked, and then my guys over here counterattacked, and we pushed deep. And I was like, man, and I was pushing so deep and so hard on them that I was just like, man, I think I can meet with the other army. But the problem with that was in Asia, I was pushing southward. I was making big gulps here and driving my troops down to the ocean to cut them off. And at this point, I had naval superiority. I had gained that by destroying their naval units, obviously, right? And I would just come down here, and they had Japan, and I would just take, as well as Korea, and I would just come down the shore, kill everything that would come up. And then my troops, I had troops coming down the south flank here, this flank, and then I had 2 divisions stacks coming down this way, which they met here, and I was able to cut off this whole stack of whatever that could have been here. And I just also used my Navy to make sure they couldn't be reinforced from Korea or Japan, and I wiped all of them out. Meanwhile, I was being nuked, and that was the only way that they really got losses was basically through nukes. They didn't kill any of my troops while actually fighting. They actually had to nuke them, which was really crazy. So when that started happening, the first couple of nukes went off, I was like, okay, this can't happen. So I started splitting my stuff up into 2 to 4 SP artilleries with 1 AA or 2 SPAAs, not AAs, SPAAs, and then 1 to 2 tank destroyers. And then I was rolling like that with stacks of 7 to 10 or something like that, usually around 7, right? So, and then what I would do is have like a stack of 7 here and a stack of 7 here. So when I say I had 2 stacks that were coming down this way that met here, and then I had 2 stacks that came down here, and they met right here, came down here, and then like they basically came together, but they weren't 2 stacks because they kept getting nuked. So like this stack was still 2 stacks, I think, but this one over here wasn't, was only 1. So I cut them off, and then basically what I was doing was I would have like a rally point here. I wouldn't pick a rally point because I didn't want my troops from Colorado to come here, but I would send all of my troops that were being built, all my tank destroyers, all my SP, and all my SP artillery to come to this point, essentially, if I were right here, right? So, and then these troops would be basically safe behind the line because they would target the stack. And then I would have them move up as the stack move up. And then as if my stack got hit with a nuke, I would simply replace it within the hour. Remember, it's 4 times speed. So they would be replaced within the hour and that stack would be moving yet again. So then at that point, that's what I did. And I just kept blasting them. And if they didn't nuke my stack, I would make another stack off the reinforcements I had. And then next thing you know, 2 stacks turned into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I just had all these little stacks, and they were like, okay, nuke, 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 nuke. Right, well, you can nuke all you want. And then they had this one stack over here somewhere that they had. It was like 30 stack, and it was railway guns, and it was in a fort. And I was like, okay, cool, you got a lot of stuff, but, really stacking's not really going to matter to me because you're going to come out or you're going to lose all your other territory elsewhere. So that's what I did. I just went around him. And, have fun with that stack sitting there, and that stack sat there for 2 days. It sat there while I went around them, and I built strategic bombers, and I started spying on the less better players, and I would hit their airports with strategic bombers, and I would hunt down their nuclear rockets and kill them before they could take off, because not only was it a waste of money for them, but I didn't want to get hit by nukes anymore. I got tired of taking the losses. So, and I went from like 300 to 20 troops, divisions, 340, 350, and then towards the end of the game I'm hitting 400 divisions. See, so and I'm just chugging along, and then at this point I tell and I've pushed them all the way to Iraq, and they've been defeated, and they know they've been defeated, and I messaged the leader, do you want to make a deal? Peace deal? And he's like, yes. And I know I forgot this, but I agreed to team up or get South America to help me, the coalition who has done anything all game long. So, as well as Kansas, who got right here, and apparently they were getting their butt kicked toward the end. But anyway, so I told them if they had just attack here, their homeland, they would win, and their military would just fall apart because they can't. They would lose their core territory, their core resources, and it would just take a major hit on them and their economy, or their economy in general. So they started preparing for that, but I'm like, they're like, oh, it'll be a day or two. I'll win this game in a day or two, fool. Anyway, so I agreed to told Iraq or Australia they can keep Africa, and I will stop island hopping, because I started island hopping and taking everything with my navy and wiping their navy straight out. See, see. So I just started wiping their navy straight out, and they couldn't do anything about it. So then at that point, let's see what happened here. I said, I want Iraq, and you need to retreat out of the Middle East. I want the Middle East, and you can keep Africa, and you can keep your core territories of Australia. I'll stop island hopping entirely. And at this point, I already have all of this. And they agreed. Of course they agreed, because they were losing so bad that they knew they were going to get wiped out. And crazy, 5-on-1, and they're the ones losing. So, they had 300 of divisions apiece. Some of them had 250 or something like that, in the low point 200. But I mean, it was truly, truly insane. Wiped them out. And I'm sorry this video is so long, and then I decided that South America, point wise, they didn't deserve a coalition win. I mean, you look at their closest guy down here. Where's he at? No, that's not him either. But look, their closest guy was like 200 and something, whatever it was. You see the map, right? Or you see the newspaper. So, and I said they don't deserve a win. So what I did was I started catching some of these places that Kansas was missing and not getting to, and then I attacked Quebec, and then I was taking all of his territories because he was inactive. So, I mean, who cares, right? So, and then he was already being invaded by one militia. one militia. Well, that's not him. Well, I guess the one militia died, wherever it is. But anyway, so and then I had like 200 something points left, and then I wind up getting exactly what I needed to get that that coalition victory. I wonder why it says 21 now. It said 2740 when the game ended. So I got exactly what I needed to win, and I got it for essentially free. Oh, by the way, this 30 stack that got cut off tried to fall back and retreat into the ocean or whatever down here somewhere, and I just hit it with artillery over and over and over and over and over and over and over till it died. Because why not? Railroad guns are not only are good for defense, and they were attacking with it, so I took advantage of that. So don't be afraid of those things, and don't think they're so as great as they are, because remember, they got nerfed, and remember, attack bombers got juiced. So, but anyway, that's how the map went. Sorry it was so long. I just wanted to try to tell you the story as briefly or as fast as possible, and try not to leave anything out. I'm sure I did, but let me know what you guys think of this, and what do you think about have you won a 5v1 or 4v1 or 3v1, or how was that experience for you guys? This is my first 5v1, and this is my first solo victory on a 73 player ×4 speed map, and I was super thrilled about it, super excited, and was super excited to get some sleep because it took about 3 days of getting to sleep for about 2 hours at a time. So yeah, but thank you guys so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to join my Discord channel if you haven't already. If not, you can add me and I will add you directly. Thanks again so much, guys.